Muito bom dia a todos, bom dia a todos que estão a juntar a nós. Tivemos uma taxa de inscritos elevadíssima neste nosso webinar e, portanto, claramente um tema do momento, e temos aqui vários participantes a entrar e, portanto, enquanto os participantes vão entrando, eu vou dando aqui as boas-vindas em nome da Câmara de Comércio e Indústria Portuguesa ao nosso webinar de hoje. Sejam todos muito bem-vindos. Vamos falar vou dizer o título em inglês primeiro e depois explicar um bocadinho, Being Customer Centric by Being Data Driven, ou seja, vamos falar sobre a importância das empresas se focarem em conhecer os seus clientes para conseguirem estabelecer relações duradouras e de como é que a parte toda de data analytics, temos aqui ferramentas que são essenciais em todo este processo de conhecimento. Temos o Carlos Fernandes, que é Deputy General Manager da Informa. A Informa DB é líder do mercado na disponibilização de informação comercial, financeira, setorial e de marketing. No fundo, a lógica aqui é permitir às empresas que aumentem o conhecimento sobre os clientes e fornecedores e, no fundo, minimizar o risco dos negócios e orientar no melhor caminho. Temos também o Rodrigo Bernardo, que é da área da Analytics também da Informa, ligado mais aos processos de transformação digital, e que estará aqui connosco numa lógica de ajudar aqui num Q&A final, ou seja, dúvidas que surjam. Este webinar vai ser em inglês e está a ser gravado. O Carlos junta-se a nós vem disputar em Espanha e vai fazer aqui a apresentação em inglês, mas depois alguma questão mais técnica, até mais ligada aqui à nossa realidade portuguesa, temos o Rodrigo para nos ajudar. E, portanto, muito bom dia a todos, uma vez mais. Muito obrigada pela vossa presença. Carlos, I'm going to pass it on to you now for the presentation. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking the time to talk a bit with us. Para quem tiver questões, vamos andar aqui entre português e inglês hoje, vai ser extremamente dinâmico e um bocadinho de espanhol, talvez. Para quem tiver questões, temos aqui o Q&A, portanto, peço-vos que escrevam as vossas questões no Q&A e no fim, entre o Carlos e o Rodrigo, eu vou ajudar a moderar e no fim vamos adressar as questões que surjam. Carlos.
Ok.
A ti.
Olá, muito bom dia a todos. Para mim é um prazer enorme estar hoje convosco e agradeço muito o convite que me foi feito pela Informa Portugal para falar hoje aqui. Adorava poder fazer este webinar no vosso idioma, mas o meu portuñol é demasiado mau e o assunto que vamos abordar hoje é tão importante que acho que vai ser muito melhor que desde um momento em que eu deixar de usar o português e passar a falar em inglês, vocês vão perceber muito mais tudo aquilo que tenho para vos contar. Ok? So, let's go into English. Sorry for that. My Portuguese is not very good. So I'm going to share this screen and let's start doing this. Okay, I think that you already seen the presentation. As Isabel was mentioning, what we are going to go through today is how we can arrive to be customer-centric by being data-driven. This is our motto. This is what Informa DNB does in Portuguese market, Spanish market, Colombian market. We work in 3 different markets and we are partners with Dun & Bradstreet. So this way of doing things is the way that we do things all over the world. This sentence, I like particularly very much this sentence because this sentence is exactly what we are going to go through throughout the presentation. And this is what it's leading the actual world in the digital transformation process of all the companies. I would like to highlight in this sentence 2 words, information and knowledge. The only way you can arrive into knowledge is through the information. And this is what we are going to do today during this presentation of what we are going to try to achieve today. You know, it's possible to make bad decisions with good data, but it's almost impossible, well, almost to make good decisions with bad data. This is the way that we need to understand and the way that we need to think the future of companies is going to be. You are going to need to take decisions, real-time decisions, many times, decisions that are going to be the key of the path that you are going to follow. these decisions are going to be made using data. Of course, you can make decisions throughout experience. This is the other way of doing things, or using your intuition. Believe me, if you want to compete in the market today, you will need to make decisions using data, and good data, because otherwise you are not going to make good decisions. You know, I've been talking with many other leaders in different companies, all of them talking about how they are going to apply their digital transformation process. And it looks like that there are two streams, two ways to make this digital transformation. One is, am I data-driven, or am I customer-centric? And even more, there are budgets that are fighting for one way of doing things and the other way of doing things. In my personal opinion, this is an incorrect approach. It's completely impossible to be customer-centric if you are not data-driven. Here you see Pelé, a wonderful football player. When I choose this photo, what I would try to say is Pelé is customer-centric. He is in the top. He's in the success, and he's supported by his teammates or the people. This is the data-driven. It's like a pyramid where the only way to arrive to be customer-centric is by being data-driven below. Okay, let's go a little bit through that. What's a company that is, what is the difference between customer-centric, which is the new approach, and organization-centric, which is the way that companies were working before the digital transformation process? The way that I normally see this is when people, when managers, they try to manage a company with the complete P&L form, income, expenses, and they try to adapt everything into the bottom line, which is the profit. When you try to arrive to the profit, and the only way that you move the company is throughout the profit, then you try to take decisions with the company interest in mind. The customer is a medium to get these goals. You try to push sale. You try to segment your customers in order to find your target, or the metrics are oriented to the company interests. A customer-centric company, decisions are made with customers' needs in mind. Customer is the goal. You see, what we are trying to achieve here is that the first line of the P&L is the important thing, because it's the one that adds value to the company. Okay, I like specifically very much the segmentation. Instead to use the segmentation to use your target, the segmentation is used to understand our customers. Okay, so which are the characteristics of our customers? What can I do in order to satisfy them more? Listen, the best way to understand a strategic plan is try to create your company specific for one customer. If you try to approach your proposal, your value proposal specifically for the need of your customer, then you will have a customer forever. And the customer will understand that what you are providing them is unique. How do you do that? It's completely impossible to do that, to arrive into this approach without a system that holds all the data that you are capable to understand inside your system, so that you can transform all this data into knowledge, so that the customer is satisfied completely. So once we know what a company customer-centric is, let's go to the second level, which is data-driven. Don't worry with this slide. This slide is really complex. I know that this presentation is going to be delivered to you, so you can get a copy of this presentation, and I strongly advise you to suggest you that you go through this slide and go to the specifics. This is not mine, by the way. I was very happy if I could have thought that about this slide, but this is not mine. This is something that I found on the web. But I like it very much because it really has all the elements that a data-driven company has to have. Let's go only to the four big elements: discover, decide, automate, activate, and in the middle, the backbone. These five specifics are the elements that a data-driven company has to do in order to design a good system, okay? If after that, when reading all the elements, you want to go through any kind of things, I'm more than happy to go to answering here or answering whenever you try to reach me. I will be very happy to answer you all the elements that I think that are relevant inside this slide. But let's go to the next slide, because this will be easier. My company, Informa, in Spain and in Portugal, has gone into this data-driven approach in order to be customer-centric. Which are the lessons that we have learned internally? Listen, I'm not now. I'm not talking about delivering services to you. Afterwards, we will go a little bit on that. But let's go on the lessons that we have learned when moving our companies into a data-driven company, so that we are coming into becoming a customer-centric company. First one, and very, very important one, data-driven is not only technology, it's culture. If you want to move your company into a data-driven company, it's a change of culture. And a change of culture goes beyond technology. It goes even beyond people. It goes into people's skills, people's way of doing things, people knowledge, training, understanding, process. Everything goes into that level. So please bear in mind that data-driven is a cultural change. The second one is data used in order to take decision needs to do something. We need to extract the data from the silos. Go inside your own organization and think about how many times you have tables of information inside your systems with customer information. You can have it in accounts, you can have it in customer service, you can have it in marketing, you can have it on sales. All these elements are very caretaken inside their own silo. But when you need to take a global decision, when you need to extract this data and to put it in a system that has a holistic view, then all the problems come. It's very difficult. It's one of the most difficult things to extract one data from one silo and to put it in a global and a common repository. And again, it's cultural, it's technical, and it's something that you need to do. Otherwise, you will not be able to perform what you want to do. As a consequence of point number 2, then you have point number 3. Point number 3, data-driven is impossible with data governance. I will go a little bit more in detail on this specific topic on the next slide, because I like very much data governance. You know, we are investing a lot of money in data governance from the moment that we extracted data from the silos. In that specific moment that you extract the data from the silo, then you need data governance structure. I will go a little bit more on that. And the next one, it's completely impossible to be data-driven with only the information that you can generate internally. There is much more information outside. You need information provider that gives you external information that makes a complement of what you have internally. And like that, you will have the perfect idea in order to take your own decisions. I will insist on that as well. Data governance. Data governance, it's a new paradigm. When you go to different webinars or conference, when people meet about these elements, data governance is a topic that everybody talks about. You open a data governance program, and then you say, okay, what's data governance? All these elements that you have in these slides are what the data governance structure means. Data quality management, architecture management, data development, data operations management, data security management, reference and master data management, data warehousing and business intelligence management, document and content management, and metadata management. Each of these bullets require different skills, different approach, and different way of treating that. But all of them adding together, all of them working together are the ones that create the data governance structure. If you want to be data-driven company, please have a data governance structure. Otherwise, the whole project will be a bad one. And one thing, now we have Rodrigo there, he's a specialist in analytics. One very important thing when you try to be a data-driven company, one very important thing is to have the correct questions and not try to anticipate the answer. It's very common, very usual that you want to use the data so that the data confirm your expectations or your experience, and then you try to manipulate data so that the answer given by data is the answer that you were expecting to receive. Data can be tortured, and when you manipulate data, you get the answer that you wanted to have. Please be honest. Manipulate the data correctly, according to the models that you want to do, asking correct questions, and leave data to provide the answer that the data has inside. Okay? Because the only way to provide bad results with good data is by incorrectly manipulating data. So please be extremely careful when manipulating data and try to anticipate the results without leaving the data to talk by themselves. Okay. And let's go a little bit on external data. When you try to incorporate an external provider providing you information from external sources, then this is a negotiation that we are very used to have with our customers. The customer will normally say, okay, give me everything that you have, or I want a coverage, or I want accuracy. There are 8 different elements that you need to check and to understand in order to make a determination if an external source is good and correct for your purposes. Accuracy, which is the measurement of the veracity of data to its authoritative source. Completeness, if all the data attributes are present when you try to incorporate the information. Coverage, how many records you have from the expected population that you are going to work with. Conformity, which is measurement of alignment of content with the required standards. Consistency, that the formats, values, and definitions are correct. Timeliness is, please don't send me information which is 4 years old. Perhaps information that is 4 years old is not valid for me. I need the most updated information. But for example, if I'm using the external information in order to create a model, perhaps I will need information that is 2 years old. And timeliness means also that the information reflects the reality 2 years ago, because I need that information from that specific period of time. Uniqueness, please don't send me duplicates, don't send me twice this information and contradictory information from the same case. Or integrity, that the linkage between different elements is perfectly covered. These 8 elements have to be taken into account when you try to incorporate these external sources into your data-driven strategy. Okay, like that, you will be sure that your decisions are going to be correct, because you are extracting the value from the data that you are capable to extract with your data-driven program with a good governance program, and the external sources are going to be well treated and well incorporated, because all these 8 data demand dimensions are extremely well cared. Choose a good provider that follows these 8 dimensions when they deliver information to you. Okay. Let me finish with again the first sentence, because this is a good summary of what from Informa try to provide to our customers. We want to participate in this strategic trip from our customers. We know that when our customers, they try to incorporate external sources, they are trying to incorporate information for different purposes: commercial, financial, sectorial, marketing, and they try to increase their knowledge so that they take good decisions. When we try to apply this sentence for our own purpose, and we try to say, okay, internally, how do we do this for our understanding of our customer needs? Then we went into the trip that I tried to explain to you through this presentation, from being customer-centric by being data-driven, with all the elements that you saw on that slide, and with data governance and incorporating external information. We have gone into this trip, and we want to share with you that this is a good and a successful trip, and your decisions are going to be good if you take these decisions. I finish here. I don't know if you have questions for me or for Rodrigo. It has been a real pleasure to be with you today. I don't want to extend this presentation for much longer, because I could talk for hours about all the elements that I put on the slides, but I prefer to be quite open to leave that to your potential questions, or surely if you want to contact me personally, our team in Informa can give you my contact, and I will be happy to answer anything that you want to know. Okay, Isabel, completely yours. If you have any questions.
Carlos, for this presentation and for sharing a bit this vision. Vou passar para português, que se calhar é mais fácil. Não sei se têm perguntas para o Carlos, para o Rodrigo. O Carlos disponibilizou-se simpaticamente para responder às vossas perguntas, caso elas surjam posteriormente. Como o Carlos referiu, eu irei partilhar com todos a apresentação, irei partilhar esta gravação também, para no fundo poderem revisitar aqui este webinar, e estamos disponíveis para fazer, obviamente, a ponte com o Carlos ou com o Rodrigo posteriormente, caso surjam questões. Não havendo questões, resta-me agradecer. Espera aí, tenho aqui o Luís Geraldes, levantou a mão. Luís, se quiser escrever a sua questão aqui no Q&A ou no bate-papo, teremos todo o gosto em, tanto o Carlos ou o Rodrigo, dependendo da questão, a responderem. Eu já ia fazer as despedidas, mas não sei se alguém tem aqui alguma questão, se alguém quer perguntar alguma coisa. Mas concluindo então o que eu estava a dizer, de qualquer forma eu vou partilhar todos estes conteúdos, e portanto questões que possam surgir posteriormente também serão bem-vindas. E queria agradecer a presença de todos, não só de quem se juntou a nós, mas sobretudo do Carlos e do Rodrigo. Então temos aqui uma questão do Luís. Qual a aplicabilidade deste tipo de conceito para aplicações tipo ERP? Não sei se o Carlos ou o Rodrigo querem.
Well, I can answer that. I understand Portuguese, by the way. I work with my Portuguese colleagues, so when you speak Portuguese slowly, I can understand. Devagarinho.
I'll do my best to speak slowly.
No. I understand. ERP it's quite interesting, because it's a completely it's a structure, it's a silo by itself, and it's quite complex to communicate with, because the structures are complex, and also specific implementations make it a little bit more complex, because every company, when they install their own ERP, they make their own specific systems and their specific usages. There API structures are very, very important in order to communicate. There are external sources. For example, I know perfectly that Informa the DNB in Portugal, they are really experts in the APIs in order to communicate with all the ERPs. So it's very important to understand what do you want to insert inside the ERP, and what do you want to extract from the ERP. And how do you communicate? That is through the API. It's feasible, it's possible, it's complex because the data inside the ERP can only be extracted conceptually in order to work in the data governance system. But well, the metadata can work with that. At the end of the day, you can do that, but ERPs are one specific element that has to be taken care. Good APIs is the answer.
Thank you, Carlos. We have in Luís Geraldo said, congratulations for the presentation.
Só acrescentar, Isabel, já agora, que como o Carlos dizia, nós temos hoje uma API que integra não só a informação local, mas também a informação internacional, e esse é parte do trabalho que estamos a fazer com os nossos clientes e bem, mais de metade do consumo que hoje é feito da nossa informação já é feito por via da integração de dados diretamente nos ERPs e nos CRMs dos nossos clientes, e portanto esse é um caminho que, como o Carlos dizia, nós estamos absolutamente disponíveis e habilitados para fazer com os nossos clientes.
Temos aqui mais uma questão do Paulo Nogueira. What if you are driven by regional managers living outside your country and without enough knowledge of the different countries? What is your take on this, Carlos? And
can you please repeat, Isabel, because if you want to fast forward, your English is too good for me.
I'm sorry. What if you are driven by regional managers living outside your country and without enough knowledge of the different countries? What if you have this reality?
Wow.
Tough one. This one is
data-driven. It's cultural, and culture is also country-oriented. That's an interesting question, and I'm going to talk about that from the personal level. You could think, because I work with international organizations trying to create a global repository of information coming from different countries. That could be exactly the same approach that the question you're asking. You could think that once you convert everything into ones and zeros, which is the digital transformation, and you have a good metadata, you could think that a global understanding of the same concepts can be easily done, and then you can have a global view. The answer, unfortunately, is no. There are several elements that are similar, and there are several elements that are specific. And the challenge is how you can you cope with specific elements that are according to a country-specific approach with international elements that are a global approach. I moved that into your question because you were not asking about data, you were asking about managers. This is exactly the same thing. When you have an international manager, you have to understand that there are several concepts that are going to be international driven and several concepts that are going to be locally driven. The more you convince this international manager that there are several concepts that they are specific, locally specific, and your data governance program can handle these elements as a specific, while some other elements are international, the better. If you try to create a unique data set globally and with the same concepts, regardless of the country of the region that you are working with, you might have an issue. I don't know if this answers your question, but that's something that I have experienced quite a lot.
Rodrigo, não sei se quer acrescentar aqui alguma nota relativamente a esta questão, ou de qualquer maneira, Paulo says thank you for your answer and support, Carlos.
Sim, diria que não acrescentaria aqui nada, mas pensamos todos em organizações transnacionais e o tipo de problemas que isso envolve, e creio que o Carlos foi já bastante claro, em relação a este tema da cultura.
The question there is try to make a good analysis of what is specific in terms of data, metadata. When you, one of the elements of the data governance is the metadata, the attributes that you link to a data element. The data definition and the way that you understand that, for example, concepts from the annual accounts or on the accounting. The concepts are depending on the local regulation, and then the same concept cannot be internationally handled unless you have a good understanding, which is the definition behind this element. Otherwise, you may arrive into wrong conclusions and you may arrive into incorrect decisions.
Okay. So, Luís Geraldes has two more questions. Do ponto de vista de custos, estamos a falar de custos por transação de acesso à API, independentemente da quantidade e do tipo de informação a retornar na transação. E depois pergunta também se tem silos de informação por nicho de negócio no país, ou estamos a falar só de empresas, e o tema do RGPD, ou seja, se este tipo de questões está efetivamente salvaguardado em termos de RGPD. Na verdade, são três questões que o Luís coloca aqui.
RGP, RGP, madre mía. My God.
Sei, Rodrigo, Carlos.
Luis, I don't know if I understood correctly your question in terms of the transactional the cost of the cost of implementation of a data-driven program. Is that the question? I don't know if I can read the questions.
Yes, in the Q&A below.
Well, okay. Yeah, I can read the questions. Desde el punto de vista de costos, estamos hablando de costos por transación de acceso a API, independientemente de cantidad de tipo de información. Okay, that question, Luis, Rodrigo, the first question is yours.
Sí. Certo. Sim, ou seja, aqui não há um enquadramento contratual e, portanto, não é o custo de cada chamada que é feita à API que é cobrado, ou seja, estamos a falar da tipologia e da quantidade de informação e de uma forma muito simples. O cliente que pretende informação sobre 300 entidades não pagará o mesmo que o cliente que pretende aceder à informação de 300.000 entidades. Bem como olhando para a profundidade da informação que se pretenda, se querem dados básicos de contacto, uma lógica de exploração de contactos comerciais, ou se quer toda a profundidade de informação financeira ou de incidentes judiciais sobre determinada entidade. E, portanto, aí a lógica é a criação de um esquema contratual que permita que depois não haja qualquer tipo de barreira em termos da quantidade de transações e de chamadas que é feita via API. Bem, teremos todo o gosto em detalhar, obviamente, estas questões, não neste fórum, porque me parece que estenderíamos muito essa conversa. Acrescentar aqui que para os clientes existentes, eu acredito que haja também clientes clientes Informa que estão a assistir a esta sessão, este processo de disponibilização de dados via API é algo que estamos a fazer localmente sem nenhum tipo de custo para os nossos clientes. A outra questão...
The second question, Rodrigo, let me clarify something for Luis. About the silos.
Okay.
When I talk about the silos, I'm not talking about integration of external information. Of course, there are silos in external information, but I was more orienting my speech and the way that I was trying to share information with you is how to implement internally inside your own company a data-driven approach. And the first problem that you will have is that the data is held into different silos. One silo is a sales application, for example, Salesforce, for these people that they might have it. So another silo is the ERP. Another silo is the website. Another silo is the customer service. All these elements are applications, systems inside your own global system that they have their own information, their own way of doing this. And when you want to extract that from that silo and share that information with other sources, both internally or externally, then you will have to face problems, cultural problems with the owner of that silo that will see that struck as a threat of its own responsibility. And that's something that has to be taken into account. Technically, as you were mentioning, yes, of course, when you have information coming from different countries, this information coming from different countries could be seen as silos. But now all when we deliver international information, we take care that what you receive is already taken care with all the 8 elements that we have defined in that slide, saying, okay, this information has to be good. Only if these 8 elements are good, we deliver that information to our customers. And of course, RGPD is something that has to be taken into account. Personal data has to be taken into account. We are supervised and we are monitored, and the international information transfer has to be taken into account. All these elements have to be taken into account when you design or you define this information. The information that we deliver, you can be sure that this is in a good RGPD shape, because we have a lot of elements that make an intervention of all the elements that we deliver to our customers. Rodrigo, do you want to add anything?
Não, só acrescentar bem, para além desta questão de RGPD, que é para nós muito sensível, e este é o core do nosso negócio, e portanto, sim, estamos absolutamente compliant com estas questões. Relativamente à questão dos silos de informação, nós temos também a capacidade, e tendo ficado claro aqui o que o Carlos, espero eu, queria dizer relativamente à questão dos silos, sim, nós dispomos de informação setorial e podemos trabalhá-la para determinados setores de atividade, bem como para determinadas regiões, para determinada tipologia de entidades. Entidades essas são entidades coletivas, não apenas empresas / sociedades, mas outro tipo de formas jurídicas, e também dispomos de informação de empresários em nome individual.
Muito bem. O Luís diz que irá depois contactar para aprofundar então alguns detalhes.
Perfeito, obrigado.
Carlos says that he agrees with you, Carlos. Silos are one of the biggest threats in the companies.
Exactly. That's why I insist very much when you try to be data-driven company. It's not the problems that you are going to face are not technical. Technical problems can be solved provided that you have a good design. That's why I didn't insist on that slide about the design. The design, you can find good people that will lead you in order to apply all the technical elements in order to have a good data-driven company. Data-driven is cultural. It's the element that you have to win in order to become a data-driven company, culturally.
So walk in the park. I think that Spain, Portugal, we all have the same issues, and we all are dealing with the same situation.
Yeah.
I think even in that, it was very interesting for you to present for us today, Carlos. Thank you very much. Rodrigo também, obrigada.
Muito obrigado nós.
Sim, Luís, vamos disponibilizar o vídeo e a apresentação do Carlos, iremos partilhar mais tardar no início da próxima semana, para poderem voltar a ver a apresentação e todas estas questões que surgiram. Obrigada pela participação e pelo interesse, agradecer uma vez mais a vossa presença, agradecer ao Carlos e ao Rodrigo também terem estado connosco aqui hoje, e desejar um bom resto de dia, um bom resto de semana a todos. Muito, muito obrigada.
Obrigado a todos.
Obrigado.
Carlos, obrigada. Até
Adiós.
à próxima.
Adiós.
Obrigada.